Stop this. Yes, guys, I'm sorry. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the breakdown. Late night live on a Sunday evening. It's 24 hours or plus after the game. So we've let the emotions run down. We've watched it again. Had a look at the statistics. Going to talk about it because it is my opinion that it was obviously much improved. It is also my opinion that we must keep that system certainly for the time being, because I think it suits the squad as a whole. It is also my opinion that it was nowhere near good enough to a certain extent. Certainly wasn't perfect. And also, there's still some big issues, both on and off the pitch. But I don't want to spend the next hour being negative, and but I'm also going to be realistic. There's still issues. I think that people are getting a bit carried away with certain performances and maybe not giving enough credit to others. But we'll talk about it. Let's discuss it. Big welcome and thank you to all the new members who've signed up this week. There's been a couple this week. I really appreciate it. There was another one this morning. Jonathan Watkins signed up to Patreon. Really appreciate it, guys. And obviously, the more members that we get, the more content we can do, and the more stuff that we can keep bringing you guys. If you didn't catch it earlier, we dropped number 10 in the Christmas countdown, which was 10 goals that Sol Bamba scored for Cardiff City. It actually has got nothing to do with the goals, and it's just myself, Rhys, and Matt talking about Sol and this year and Sol as the impact he had. But the tenuous link to number 10 is the fact that he scored 10 goals. So we'll have another one tomorrow, all the way up to Christmas Eve is number 1. And then Christmas Day, we'll have a Christmas Day special podcast for people if they want to watch it. But yeah, check out that video on Sol Bamba from early hours. You know, obviously, it's a decent one. But yeah, let's dig into it a little bit. Just because of the time of year and stuff, we're not going to have a player ratings video and stuff like that out tomorrow because I got just like so much to do and I'm at the radio and stuff in the morning. So we won't have time to do an individual player ratings video. So I'll probably discuss that a bit later on. And like I said, I thought pretty much everyone was much improved from Wednesday, which wasn't difficult because I thought Wednesday was a disgrace. Like, being honest, I thought some players performed better than I kind of saw people discussing. And I thought some players weren't quite as good as what some people were making out, but they were better. And like the biggest issue for me, like, is firstly, we're losing points to these late goals, these late mistakes. And it's not the first time. Sure, it won't be the last. But also, a lot of the goals we've conceded this year, which have cost us points, either 2 or 3, have come from mistakes. If this team as a whole can count the mistakes, I do think that there's something there. I still think that the squad is good enough to stay up, particularly if we can get 1 or 2 in loan in attacking areas. I still think this squad is good enough. I think defensively they're good enough. I think midfield's probably just about good enough, although I think we need one in the summer. Attacking wise, I think we need a pacey winger, and I need a pacey winger or like a attacker if we're going to play in this system. And I think we need a striker, is fair to say. But on the striker thing, let's talk about the people who played yesterday as out-and-out strikers. So obviously you had Matty initially through the middle. I much prefer him through the middle. I've said this before. I think we are he can do the link up side of it. He can work hard. Not so much, or not so sure, that he's going to be the goal scorer, which is fine. But he if you can get the right players around him, I think he can be a stopgap number 9 when we're not playing Robinson, because Robinson's been struggling for fitness anyway, and maybe that's contributed to his kind of slight dip in performances as well. Then Kanga came on. He played through the middle for a bit, but then he went out sort of more to the right, and we played with like Robertson and Colwell almost as false 9s towards the end, which I don't mind that. Like, I thought it was all right. So Kanga, it's weird, right? Because in a minute, I'm going to talk about how I think some people have got a bit carried away with certain things. But I thought Kanga, for whatever, how long did he play? 10 minutes? Not even that. 6 minutes plus injury time. I thought they were his best minutes in a Cardiff shirt. Mad, isn't it? Like, he worked hard. He won a couple of headers, and he didn't give the ball away. 3 out of 3 accurate passes. He had that one little layoff where he held the defender off and laid it off to Cyprus to shoot. Like, I'm by no means, by the way, saying he's good enough or anything like that. I'm just saying it was interesting to see. I think that's his first. I'm not sure. He must have come on. No, he's come on under Rhys. Yes, definitely. Sorry, that's my mistake. Obviously, played in a different system. Will that suit him because he'll have people closer to him? Possibly. But it was interesting. I would say that. I wouldn't say it was encouraging. I wouldn't say that's it. Now he's going to be good. But it was interesting that after being dropped, he looked motivated. So maybe we get to see the Kanga that we've seen from all those clips before he joined Cardiff City. Maybe. Not holding my breath. In terms of the team, I thought Jesper Darlin was very, very good. I think he's, I don't know, but I kind of think he's more suited to the left of the 3, but whatever. He had like an 81% accurate passes, not too bad. A couple of key passes, long balls, etc. Gave the ball away 11 times. That's not too bad. Won 2 out of 2 ground duels. Won 5 out of 8 aerial duels. That's pretty good. 5 clearances, interceptions, couple of tackles. Good game. Thought it was like a 7 out of 10 performance. Decent, or maybe even a 6.5, but decent. I thought Gutas was probably the pick of the defenders. Although I thought Chambers was pretty good, but no, I thought Gutas was, because I thought Gutas and Chambers, I thought, were both really poor on Wednesday. But you kind of gave the benefit of the doubt more to Gutas because he's generally been good this year. And he's the kind of one where you look at and you think he looks like a bit of a leader. So I was glad to see him back on form. I still stand by that Will Fish is so unlucky to not get a start when you're coming off the back of both centre-backs being dreadful, right back out of the squad completely, and then you've switched to 3 centre-backs and he still can't get on. Like, that's an issue for me. Chambers, I thought, was very good. Much better, much more like what he was doing not so long ago. He still worries me. I still don't think he's physically strong enough in the challenge sometimes. Like, he won 2 out of 2 ground duels, but in the air, he only won 1 out of 5 aerial duels. So, for a centre-back, that's concerning. His distribution was excellent, 89%. So that's, no key passes, but that's not essential as a defender. He only lost possession 6 times. A couple of interceptions, a couple of tackles, blocks, etc. Very good. I thought him and Gutas were excellent. I thought Darlin was good. Rinamoto, I thought, was another one who was good. I don't really like him as a wing back because in that system, you need your wing backs to be your width. I think I just saw a comment somewhere, someone saying we're still too narrow. So in this system, for it to be absolutely at its best, you need the wing backs to get forward and be able to get forward and up and back and up and back. Now, of course, we're away from home against Stoke. We were kind of sitting in a little bit. So maybe at home we'll see a slightly more attacking version of that in the wide areas. But maybe, I don't know, maybe when you want to play defensive, you put Rina Moto as the wing back, or maybe when you want to be a bit more attacking, you could put Tanner there, or you could put one of the youngsters there, maybe. And then you've also got the option to play someone, like a Tanner or someone with a bit of pace in one of the sort of 2 number 10s behind the striker as well. But yeah, Rina Moto, I thought he was good, didn't do anything wrong. Just I think he makes us a little bit narrow in that system. Siopis thought was real good. I saw people start kind of on him again, saying, "Oh yeah, he was better, but still not very good." Thought he did everything which you'd want him to do. He won tackles, won 5 out of 8 ground duels. Didn't give the ball away anywhere near as much as it had been previously. Lots of little touches, like lots of little passes. I don't think he had like any key passes or anything, but it's not his game. What he did have is he lost possession 7 times in the whole game, which is a massive improvement. Won a couple of fouls. What he did have was clearances, interceptions, tackles, blocks, just really mixing it up. So I do like it. I thought he was better. Joe Rose, I was pleased to see that he put in a real good response to what was a bit of a horror show on Wednesday. So I'm glad. I was really pleased for him because I like Joe Rose. I think people really over-egg their criticism of him, but he's also not devoid of criticism. And I think Wednesday was, like I said, it was a bit of a horror show. Lost possession 14 times, but out of the 2 midfielders, he's the one who's trying to progress the play and play through the lines. So, yeah, decent. Wouldn't be, certainly at home, wouldn't be my choice in that system. Alongside Siopis, it would be one or the other. But I thought Joe Rose led the team well. He was in amongst it and he was good. O'Dowda, I thought, was excellent. Again, he's had a really good season, O'Dowda is. I think off the top of my head, I remember him having like one bad game, but he was good. Key pass, couple of key passes, dribbled past, successful dribbles rather, a couple of clearances, interceptions, tackles, just a general all-round good game from him, I thought. And he's going to be a big asset in that system on the left, getting forward and getting in amongst it. And you could do it if you wanted to be a bit more attacking and get a bit more pace in there. You could put the youngsters at home in the wing-back positions, like, say, Giles or Bagan, and then K. Pacquiao on the other side, and then have O'Dowda as one of the 2 off the striker, which gives you that extra bit of pace to get in behind. As long as you've got like an out-and-out number 10 on the other side, whether it's Ruben or El Ghazi or Willock, I think that's good. But O'Dowda was excellent. El Ghazi, I thought, was really encouraging again. I think the system suits him perfectly because he likes to look into those little pockets. Didn't think he was outstanding, but I thought he was good, and I thought it was another improvement. So like Wednesday, he came back for his injury, and I thought he was really good for a short period. And then he thought he built on that with another good performance. And look, we all just want to see him get to the level that we know he has been capable of. But it is what it is. I know I haven't done the keeper yet. I'm going to come back to him. Chris Willock. So Chris Willock was the one I was kind of alluding to. Without a doubt, it was his best game in a Cardiff City shirt. But I don't necessarily think that was like a massive high bar. But equally, I thought he was very, very good. Let's look at his stats. I thought he was very good. I think this system suits him more because I think he suits similar to El Ghazi rather than being wide. Although El Ghazi likes to be wide and then drift in, I think Willock would rather be sort of a bit more central and then drift wide. I thought he was good. Yeah, I thought he was a real good contributing factor. I would still like to see a bit more from him, but it takes time. He's had, a good game yesterday. He started. Let's hope that he can build on that. He had plenty of touches. One thing which I was impressed with, 6 out of 7 dribble attempts he got completed. So he tried to dribble past 7 players, and 6 of them were successful. That's a very good stat for someone in that position. Won 10 out of 15 ground duels as well, which is that's really encouraging because it's not really his game. Worked hard. Look, I thought he was good, but the way I was reading some people's sort of socials, would you think he'd been messy, like, you know? But no, he was very, very good, and probably deserved his chance to start, and he took it. Like, at the end of the day, it's that age-old sort of cliche, innit? Away to Stoke, but like away to Stoke is difficult. So particularly with Tanner out now for, I think he's out till at least January, or certainly for a few weeks because he's got a hamstring injury. So he's going to be out. A knee injury. So he's going to be out for a while. He was struggling with his knee anyway, and that's why he was sort of coming in and out. And there was one game where he was kind of stayed on, and he probably should have come off. And they went for a scan, and there was a bit of damage there, but hopefully it's not too long term. But that's an opportunity for Willock, for El Ghazi to stake a claim, particularly in this system. I hope we stick with this system, but I hope he adapts it for home games, because I think that we can be aggressive with it and still be solid defensively. Jack Alnwick, he's made 2 mistakes. Last night I kind of said he made a mistake, and he made one which he would have thought he wanted to do better. Like the first one, he should just do better. Having rewatched it and looked at it again, I think they're both mistakes. Like, he really's got to do better with that first one. The second one is just a brain fade, isn't it? I know what he's trying to do with it, but he's just completely misjudged it. If he stays on the line, it's an easy save. He falls on the ball and we win the game. But you can't blame him too much, because he's kept us in the game minutes before they score the second goal. He makes that one-on-one down save, and he made a couple of other saves throughout the game. So it's difficult to be too critical, but it's kind of like the last couple of games, there's been a couple of errors from him. He was a bit poor on Wednesday. And Matt made a really good point last night. Like, his missus has just had a baby, Alnwick. He's played every minute of every game. Maybe he does need a break. Maybe mentally he's a bit shot. Like, he's played a lot of football. That's a couple of, mistakes on the trot. It's a difficult one because I think he's been so good. I just think the first one, you either hold it or you've got to get it away from goal. Like, you cannot put it back in the area like that. And it wasn't a massively powerful shot. And he will feel that he should have done better with it. I know that from just my experience with goalkeepers. He will have felt that he should have done better. And the second one, in his head, he's thinking, if I come and claim this now, it takes the pressure off everyone. I'm going to fall on the ball, and that's it, game over. And you could see as he's running, he's completely misjudged it. And as keepers, they're told, if you go, if you take out anyone in front of you from either team. And he's kind of taken the guy out. He's gone for it. He's continued to go for it. And I think it was Gibson, just came across the front of him and gets there first. So what is vital for Cardiff, whatever team he picks, whatever tactic, system, whatever, what's vital for the City on against Sheffield United is we start fast and aggressive and get the crowd on side in the first 10 minutes and don't let Sheffield United settle. Because if we start slow and turgid and sideways and backwards and we don't press, it'll get toxic and negative and moans and groans really quickly. But if we start aggressive and we start fast, put a few tackles in, press high, the crowd will naturally get behind it. Because we all want to win. It's Christmas. The Christmas period is an enjoyable period as a football fan, generally, lots of games. So, start fast, get the crowd on your side. And equally, don't let Sheffield United settle. I did a Sheffield United podcast earlier. And the guy is he's not that confident. He said they haven't been playing particularly well recently. They don't score a great deal of goals. And he fears that if we get an early goal, they may struggle, which is interesting because whilst I don't think overall we're quite as bad as our league position says we are, but the league table doesn't lie. But also, if we perform like we did on Wednesday, we deserve to go down. That was so bad. So we have to have the same level of commitment and intensity that was shown yesterday by the whole squad. That has to be shown week in, week out. And in my opinion, commitment and attitude, mentality, work rate, passion, whatever you want to frame it as, that's the bare basic that you expect from those players. These players, by the way, who are so happy that Omar Rhys has taken over. So there cannot be any excuses from them now, from the players, I mean. I think Omar Rhys again has shown, as I said in the video I did the other week, last week, well, just before he was announced, he's shown again that he's tactically flexible. Now, does he sometimes get that flexibility or adaptability wrong? Yeah, he does. But he's inexperienced and he's learning. And there was a few eyebrows raised. I disagree with, even with a good performance and a good, semi-good result, I disagree with the starting lineup that he put out. I agree with the system. I agree with the change in some things. I just thought it was a bit... I don't feel quite as strongly as some of the other people who I know who were saying things like it was cowardly and it was this and that to sacrifice the young players from the starting lineup. I don't necessarily feel that strongly about it in that terms of it, but I did think that it was the easier option to drop the younger players than it is to drop some of the more experienced ones, shall we say. But they got a good result. They should have won the game. We deserve to win the game. And let's look at it positively. The whole performance was better. Individually, most of those players played pretty well. Tactically, we looked much better, much more suited to that system. I just hope he adapts it for the home games to give us a bit more aggression and a bit more width, a bit more pace. There was a post somewhere. There's loads of comments come in, but I'm going to try and find. There was someone said something about it shows Errol Bullock did a great job with this team. Can't find it. I can't find it. Too many comments. Right, I will go to the comments in a minute. And I know some people will disagree with some of the stuff I just said. That's the best thing. It's opinions, isn't it? In terms of the subs, we talked about Kanga earlier. I thought Ruben Colwell was excellent off the bench. And in many ways, he is suited to coming off the bench. But what was a bit frustrating was a couple of times, like, Stokes struggled to get a ball off him. Like, he was really good in his dribbles. But a couple of times, he kind of beat a man or two. And he got his head up and there was no one running in behind or into the spaces. And he just turned back and kept possession. Now, at home, I'm sure people would moan and groan and say, like, oh, yeah, it's going backwards. But he retained possession. We were winning 2-1. There wasn't long left. And he didn't just lose it pointlessly. I thought he was good off the bench again. Alex Robertson and Ruben being the kind of two which I disagree with being dropped, really, particularly in that system. Robertson for me is the first name on the team sheet. Maybe he needed a break and stuff. Maybe he had an injury earlier in the season, so you never know with stuff like that. But for me, he's the first name on the team sheet because he's a cut above all the other midfielders that we have. So for me, he's always going to be the first on the team sheet, and it's who's going to play alongside him. But again, some people will disagree, just as some people disagree with me on my views on Siopis. It was Rhys. He said, it was me. I said, you have to give Bullet some credit for getting this team into a mid-table finish in his first year in England. People said he was too defensive, but maybe that's why. Possibly. So look. Phil says, hi, Si. Yeah, you can't really blame Alnwick for the first goal. Rolls gave up the chase on his marker, took a shot on, and then our defence was asleep for the rebound. Yeah, it was more, look, I get it. Like, it should have been closed down way before the shot comes off, like, you know. But as a keeper, and it's more, maybe it's just from working with my boy and seeing the like goalkeeper training day in, day out. I just know he will be really frustrated with that. He will feel like he should have either held it or got it right away from goal. One of the first things you learn as a keeper when you dive in low is push the ball as far away from goal, out for a corner, whatever. Just get it away from the goal to avoid that situation. But like, it is what it is. The second one is what it is, isn't it? I think if it wasn't on the back of, you know, some ropey performances, maybe he would get more of a pass from me. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. It's just not a rush of blood, but the second one. But I know what he's trying to do. Like, and you know, if it comes off, if he comes and collects it and catches it or whatever, falls on the ball and the game's over, everyone's saying, "Oh, that's great goalkeeping." He just misjudged it, and once he had gone, and it was just, yeah, it's too good. So look, Paul says, I think Rhys will bring back. I think Rhys will be bringing one or two back, depending on their situations at the loan clubs. I know he's been in contact with all the players out on loan, especially the younger lads. Yeah, I don't. The one I probably think about bringing back is Raheem Conte, especially if we're going to play this system, because he's very, very suited to playing as a wing back on the right hand side, and he's so tidy with the ball. So that's potentially an option. I think it's a mistake to bring Joel Colwell back unless they're going to start him, because it's just, you may as well let him develop. As much as I would like to see him in a Cardiff shirt, unless you're going to say to him, right, you're playing in midfield with Robinson, and that's our main midfield pairing, I just think you're better off leaving him out on loan. Eli King's an interesting one, because he was one who a lot of people thought might get in the first team this year, and then they loaned him out again. He's got plenty of experience playing like men's football, if you like. Let's have a look how much games he's played this year or this season. 11 appearances. Been in the starting 11, 38% of the time, played about 36% of the minutes. Yeah, so he hasn't played loads of football over at Stevenage, at Eli King, which is a worry. But just because they're not getting game time for their loan club doesn't mean that they can't do a job for Cardiff. You know, we talked about Paul Parry in a video the other day. Made his debut at Hereford, 17, wasn't ready. Moved to Cardiff, 3 leagues up. Within 24 hours of signing, was in the starting 11, wasn't ready. But by playing a couple of games, settling, he was good. Rhys says, question for you, Si, and everyone on here. If the season ended today, who would your player of the year be? Oh, that's an interesting one. My top 3, in no particular order, I think, would probably be O'Dowda, Robertson, maybe Gutas, maybe Ruben's gone off the boil a little bit recently, so Robinson has got off the boil for me as well. So I think the most consistent players have been O'Dowda and Gutas, in my opinion. I think the rest have had periods where they've been quite poor. Right, yeah. O'Dowda, Gutas, Robertson would be my three, just in whichever order, I suppose. Subjective, isn't it? But there's a couple who've been all right. Like Alnwick's been all right, and Ruben's been probably more good than bad. Kanga's the most consistent. Yeah. Be interesting what he does at home versus Sheffield United. I think Robert. Well, so I say that I was going to say I think Robertson comes back in, but because we've got such a break, like a week between the game, 6 days, whatever, like maybe Rawls doesn't go out. Then is it Rawls and Robertson? Is it Rawls and Siopis? Because Siopis was good, and I think Siopis offers something different to all the other midfielders, and I do think you need that for particularly against one of the better sides in the league. You need that to really shore up and win the midfield battle. So maybe if it was me, I'd probably have Robertson in there, and then I'd probably go. What would I go with? Okay, Sheffield United. Darlin, Gutas, Fish. Actually, Darlin, Gutas, Bagan, or Collins. I'd go O'Dowda left wing back, right wing back. I'd go Pacquiao, and probably Siopis and Robertson. Mate's got a knock, so I'd probably go with. I might even go with El Ghazi up front, and Ruben and Willock off him. I think we need to get Kipaki in there for the home game though to really get some pace and some width up there. I'd like to see him get an opportunity at home. Yeah, Guzas was a bit poor under Bullet, wasn't he? Although I think he generally has been a lot better this season. Generally has been pretty good. It was last season under Gutas. Although no, he did have the run at the start of the season, wasn't it? Under Bullet, he was awful. Yeah, Rhys just saying there that in the summer we spoke about getting Oliver Norwood in the middle and midfield, man with vision and a pass. Seen the other day, he signed for Stockport in League One on a free. Yeah, he'd be a decent option, mate. I got to be honest though, I think I prefer Robertson. Younger, sharper, similar skill sets with the passing and stuff. I really like Robertson. I don't think he's going to be here next year, unfortunately. I think he's that good a footballer that I don't think he's going to be with us for very long. He's going to be one of them who's a bit of a flying visit, I hope we stick with this system. But what do you guys think? Do you guys hope that he sticks with this system? Or do you think he'll kind of flip between 4-2-3-1, or will he go back and then go back to it at certain times? It's my roof's not leaking. No, it's the cats. What's it called? It's like a water fountain thing. Apologies. There's nothing I can do about it. They run my house. Never thought I'd have cats. Rhys says, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with Robertson, but with Turnbull injured, we're crying out for a number 8. It would have been perfect to bring off the bench. Yeah, I agree with that. There's one of the reasons why I'm really annoyed that we never seem to see Siopis as the 6 and Robertson as the number 8 with Ruben in front. I would like to see that with Tanner and O'Dowda, or Ashford and O'Dowda, or just some real young players on the wing with them 3 as the central players. But Evan says, would you rather that Kanga signs a 5-year deal or Mike Ashley for 1 season? Mike Ashley for 1 season, probably, because I don't think Mike Ashley could run us into administration in 12 months. Be a challenge for him, though, wouldn't it? Could he? Do you reckon he could? I think that maybe it's my desperate optimism. There's 2 things which I've been saying to people recently, and they don't seem. They look at me like I'm a bit mad. One, I don't think come the end of the season we'll be in a relegation battle. Come the end of the season, like when it's really squeaky bum time, I don't think we'll be down there. And two, I still think there may be a player in Kanga. And I wonder whether getting dropped has given him a bit of fire to make a point. But I think it's more hope than belief, if that makes sense. And it's based on what he's done at his previous clubs. And that's it, really. That's it. And hope. Because I haven't seen anything in the Cardiff shirt other than 5 minutes yesterday where it's like, oh, he suddenly looks motivated and like a footballer. Because my biggest gripe with him hasn't necessarily been the lack of quality, which there is enough of that to go around for with it, whether he could share that with the whole team. It's more been his lack of effort and his body language. It looks like, I think I said like about a month or two ago, like he looks like he's here for the paycheck and doesn't look remotely interested in battling or pressing or chasing down blind alleys or running the channels or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Kanga's going to score off his ass against Swansea in the 89th minute. Like Ruben or someone will have a shot and it'll just hit him in the ass and go in and wrong foot the keeper. Come on, the boys. Evan says challenge accepted from Mike Ashley. Rhys says, you listen to ex-managers, they all said the same about Mike Ashley. He let them get on with the job. We bring in X amount this season so you can spend that and you live and die with your choices. At this point, mate, or all of you, like I'd just like an owner to put in a freaking football structure so at least we can try and move forward as a football club, because I do feel like we're just going to go round and round in circles. And one of the most angering things at the moment is if Rhys stays up, he might or might not get a job in the summer. Probably lean toward, like if he finishes like just outside the relegation zone, say, he probably won't get the job. So we can have a new manager who's going to come in. We've got to start again. If he gets relegated, then he's definitely you might keep the job, I suppose, because they'll want a cheap option. But like, do you know what I mean? It feels like whatever happens in this summer, we're going to have to start again with a new manager. And that frustrates me because I don't think we need to be in that position. Like, I really don't. So it'd be interesting. Yeah, like Jeff just saying there, recent stats on Conte since the 5th of October. He has not been in the squad. He was in the squad 23rd of November. Was back in the team for a 2-0 loss and then not in the squad next game and the last two games. But like I said, he's been on the bench for the last two games. Like I said a few minutes ago, I don't like, whilst it's good if they obviously, it's great if they're doing well on loan. You look at Joel Colwell, you look at Isaac Davis doing well on loan. That's great. And that's obviously the preferred option. But just because a loan isn't working out for whatever reason, there's so many reasons why they might not be playing. It could be the manager prefers experienced players. How many managers have we had who just want to play like 30-year-olds? It could be that he doesn't fit the system. It could be they play long ball football and he wants to play the football, like the ball on the deck. It doesn't make any real difference to me to what they want to do with Cardiff. Like even, I think, like Jonathan just said there, Ollie Tanner wasn't playing when he went on loan to the non-league and then he was playing first-team football the next year. It really just depends how they react when you put them in the first team for Cardiff. Some will sink, some will swim. I thought Raheem Conte, and I don't get me wrong, like I thought the majority of the youngsters who came into the first team at the end of last season, I thought they all did really well. I thought Raheem Conte was the pick of them, of the ones who had never played first team football before. His composure, his defensive awareness, his positional awareness, because he was also kind of not playing in his preferred position. He's good on the ball. He's skillful. Like I say, he's very composed. And I think that's a good option. Evan says Simic looks likely to be recalled. Would you play him or loan him to a different club? To be honest with you, I'd be playing him, mate. I'd certainly give him a chance because, sorry, I was just laughing at Jonathan's comment there. With Simic, like I just think he's played at a higher level than Championship, so it's worth giving him a try. And the fact that Sunderland wanted him as a first team member is encouraging because you're not relying on our recruitment to work out whether he's good enough. He also, like, he's injured anyway, I think till like mid-January or something. So, you know, Isaac's going to be back as well, hopefully around that time. Again, in this system under Rhys, I think Isaac Davis could be really exciting. He might be a great option for us. So it'll be interesting. Jeff says, do we need Conte back? I think so, mate. I think we need a wing back. I think Rinamoto is fine if you want to be solid and predominantly have it as a 5 when you're out of possession. But you also need someone like O'Dowd on that right-hand side to be the width going forward, particularly at home. And I don't think we've got that, particularly with Tanner out. Like, Tanner's the only real option. NG can't be a wing back getting forward. I think NG will probably end up being one of the 3 when he plays, if we play this system. I don't think, unless they're not going to look for one side to push up. We got to get something to put pressure on Perry NG. Interesting, he's not in the squad, wasn't it? Hamstring, eh? Wow. Fancy that. It's a bloody medical team, innit? Must be. Mysterious injuries. Let's have a look what the people are saying. People talking about Tom Ramsdale. I'm not getting involved in that conversation. Simic is out for a bit. So I would bring him back into the squad. Fact Steve says, I can see us needing a new manager in January. Looking at the stats, we currently have 0.9 points per game. We need to improve our results by 35% to avoid relegation. I get what you're saying, mate. But if you go back, right, and you look at the results since Rhys took over, I hate like when people say, "Oh, we've been so unlucky," but like, there's been games where we've been poor. You know, QPR last Wednesday. I thought Hull, obviously, we got outplayed. 1 or 2 others, but like generally speaking, the games where we haven't been horrendous, I think there has been a little bit of unluckiness to it, but there also has been a bit of naivety in the tactics. Bristol, looking at you. You know, there's been games which we should have put away. Yesterday, there was a point yesterday where the Stoke fans were starting to boo their own team, just like the Bristol fans were when we were up against them. And we didn't put them to bed. We didn't, like, to me, and actually, it happened in the Premier League today. Like, Manchester City fans were getting really anxious, and they're starting to boo and get frustrated. And then they got a lucky goal, which put them 1-0 up off a deflected cross, which actually settled them. But before that, the fans were starting to turn, and you could see that United were like trying to push forward more when the fans got frustrated. And I felt against Bristol City, when the fans started to turn and we were winning, we really should have pushed on and put them under pressure and forced mistakes, gone and got 3 or 4 goals, and then switched to 3 at the back or 5 at the back. But he just went too early, and that's that inexperience. And I think he's made a couple of those where he's inexperienced. So I do get why people are not convinced by him, but I think overall, most performances have been better than not, if that makes sense. Let's have a look what else people are saying. I'm not getting involved in that. but he hasn't had enough game time, Jonathan. I don't know which player you're referring to there, so I'm gonna have to go back and have a look. Right, let's leave Paul Tom Ramasol alone. Okay. Jesus. Right, Jeff, who are you talking about there when he has saying he hasn't had enough game time? You're talking about Conte, were you to put pressure on NG? I don't think that Perry NG is suited to being a wing back. Like, he doesn't attack as a fullback. So as a wing back, I think it's even less because he's got to go up and down even more. Yeah, maybe. Jonathan saying similar mistake as Bristol taking Willock off yesterday for Robertson, going more defensive. Possibly, mate. We do seem to play better away, Jeff. It's hard at the Cardiff City Stadium at the moment, isn't it? Because everyone is so pissed off with the board. I think there's a bit of frustration with certain things around the football team. It's difficult, isn't it? Yeah, I assumed, it was going to be Robertson on for Rawls, but I thought Rawls did very well yesterday. I thought he led the team well. And in fairness to Joe Rawls, right, whatever you think of him, whether he should be starting, not starting, playing, whatever, whatever you think is not the issue. What I will say about Joe Rawls is he is a proper servant of Cardiff City, and he is doing everything he can behind the scenes to keep that squad on the same page, and all pulling in the right direction and make sure that we do the best we can. And he is doing everything he can to do that. And I respect it a lot, because sometimes I look at those players like last Wednesday and I think, fucking hell, some of these players do not give two shits about Cardiff, do not give two shits whether we go up or down. It is just a job to them. They're happy to get their payday and whatever. They're not bothered. He isn't one of them. Like, he genuinely cares. He is trying his best to hold that squad down and accountable and together. So, good for him. I know there was some, separate to Joe Rawls, I know there was some harsh words within the squad after the Preston Wednesday? I lose track. Last Wednesday's game. There were some harsh words expressed between the players, and rightly so. You expect that. Like, they've got to hold each other accountable. They've got to look in the mirror and say, was I good enough today? Did I do enough today? I like that. Like, I'd be more worried if they were not having words, if that makes sense. Yeah, so Rhys makes a great point there. He says, it's a worry, though, Si. Stoke were very, very poor and feel a better side would have punished us. So this is my issue, and I think I said this last night. QPR, Preston, Stoke, and someone else, I thought all of them were absolutely dire. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm fairly confident that we'll stay up, because I think there's at least 3-4 teams worse than us. Plus, you've got Plymouth in there, apart from those ones I just mentioned. But we got to start beating these teams who are that, because Stoke were terrible, Preston were terrible, QPR were terrible, Plymouth were obviously terrible. We beat them, but do you know what I mean? We've got to put these teams away and stop dropping silly points. Paul says, we had a problem when Bullet was here when we play home. Rhys still has that problem. We struggle for a performance. Is it fear, or is it fear in the team? I think it's slight tactical tweak is needed to be pressing higher up the pitch. Maybe the defense need to push up a little bit to push everyone else up, and we just need to be a bit more aggressive in the tackle. For me, if we start, I really believe that if we at home, first 10-15 minutes, if we start really high intensity, really high press, really aggressive in the tackle, put yourself about a bit, work hard to get the ball back, I really believe that the fans and the crowd will jump on that and they will get behind you. If you pass and keep possession, It's all well and good controlling the ball and controlling the game so the other team's not scoring. But what you're doing is you're letting the away side settle and then they start playing. You can't do that. And you shouldn't be doing that. If you want to make the Cardiff City Stadium a bit of a fortress, make it a fortress. It's just my opinion. Some people will disagree, I'm sure. Vincent says, we should have won yesterday. Same at Coventry. 4 points dropped. Can't keep letting goals in the last minute. Need to be more clinical. Both, to be fair. Jonathan says, when Rhys started, we were awful away, brilliant at home. Unfortunately, the tweaks so far have killed the home form. Slightly better away. Yeah, it's. I still think it's not that far away from clicking. Not saying we're on the verge. I just look at it and I see certain little things tactically and some of the patterns of play and the rotations that we're trying to do. And I look at it and I'm like, I can see what we're trying to do. Just need to move it a little bit quicker and have a little bit more movement off the ball. And I think it'll come. I do think it's coming, but here's what it is. Rhys not happy. Says, one thing that's pissing me off is throw-ins. No one moves for a throw-in. We stood there looking for someone to throw it and players got their backs to the ball. Oh, it's infuriating, mate. It's in the championship. The championship is so tight. So tight from 8th down to the bottom. Is very little points in it. You win a few games. What was it over Christmas period? 3 or 4 games? 4 or 5 games. You win 4 games over Christmas and you be straight shoot up there. The results go your way. Interesting, Jonathan, wasn't it, that Des Buckingham was sacked by Oxford, which is remarkable. A bit like Robbins, he's done a remarkable job with them. Do you know what is interesting though, mate? Gary O'Neill and Des Buckingham both sacked this weekend. Would you take either of them as Cardiff City manager? Not saying whether we want Rhys or out or anything like that. I'm just asking the question. Would you fancy Des Buckingham or Gary O'Neill as manager permanently? Corners as well have been piss poor. And Russell Martin's been sacked. Which one out of those 3 would you prefer? There you are, Fact Steve, with some more stats. Rhys in 13 games, 17 points. That's an average of 1.307 a game. Maintained in that average, will finish with 51 points. Yeah, it's got to get better. It's got to get better. One thing which I kind of cling to is we are creating chances. So, fingers crossed. Throw-ins, terrible. Yes, they are. Russell Martin. So you got Russell Martin, Gary O'Neill, and Des Buckingham all gone. Would you be happy with any of them being appointed as a permanent manager? Would you be happy with, say, Des Buckingham being appointed assistant manager to Omar Rhys? Not saying he would take it, but just as a... Jonathan says, I would have taken Gary O'Neill, would like Rhys to work, but as discussed, I think Rhys needs staff. Yeah, he does, mate. Preferably, we'd give him some good staff, but let's just get him some staff at this point. Jeff says Gary O'Neill has 30% win rate. So no. Anyway, he'll go to Pompey. Mate, I thought he was so unlucky to get sacked by I forgot who it was last year. Who was it? When they brought in see, Paul's loyal. Wouldn't take any of them. Wouldn't take Russell Martin, wouldn't take Buckingham, and wouldn't take O'Neill. Interesting. Evan says O'Neill to work under a stubborn board, Des Buckingham to manage a club fighting relegation, and Russell Martin if it means keeping Colwell. Yeah, he does love him, doesn't he? Jonathan says, I wouldn't like Russell Martin unless I'm suffering insomnia because his football helps me sleep. Bournemouth, that's who it was. Gary O'Neill did a tremendous job at Bournemouth and he was really, really unlucky to get sacked from there. Alex says Gary O'Neill, yes. The others, no. I think Gary O'Neill's a real good manager and I like the way he plays football. I like the way he conducts himself as well. Rhys says, think Gary O'Neill done well with Wolves, sold their best players but not replaced them, done with his hands tied behind his back. Yeah, Gary O'Neill's actually the one. Interestingly, that Tony Mowbray's now obviously he was diagnosed with cancer, but I saw a report today saying that he's looking to get into management or get back into football. I think he'll get the Wolves or the Leicester, not the Leicester job because they got Van Nistelrooy. Was it Wolves? Who else is there? There was a Premier League job which came up, which I think he might get. But I would have loved Tony Mowbray. I really would like Gary O'Neill, man. But I like, I think it was Paul's, was it, or Jonathan? I really would like Rhys to work. I'd like Rhys to become like our own sort of like young manager who we develop and he goes and becomes a successful manager for us. That would be a nice, refreshing change. But Tony Mowbray, director of football, mate, at this point, I would take bloody Matt as director of football just so we can have one. I would love to know what percentage. In fact, I'm going to Google it and ask the old AI what percentage of professional football clubs have a director of football. Any guesses? It would be funny, wouldn't it, if it was like 99.9% and the only club who doesn't have one is Cardiff. Well. Isn't that interesting? So, it's based on the Premier League, that is, though, so I might have to adapt it. But basically, in the 21-22 season, 17 out of 20 teams in the Premier League had a director of football. I think most this changes in the EFL. I think most clubs now have got a director of football, a technical director, or a director of football operations. AI says most professional football clubs in the EFL have a director of football, though the percentage varies depending on budgets and club structures. As club budgets grown, there it goes, blah, 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 blah. Some common pathways to becoming a sporting director. I see. Maybe I could do that job. Solskjaer. See? Solskjaer. I think that he's not as bad now. Not saying that Cardiff, he was awful at Cardiff. Since then. Mate, Jonathan, honestly, it makes me sad when I see both those names. Hasn't Jody Morris gone with Lampard to Coventry, though? I believe he has. I might be wrong about that, though. I don't know if he did end up going. Jody Morris has got a wicked reputation as a coach. I would love to have either or. Both would be the dream, mate. Like you know what I think about Barry Murphy. I genuinely think that I know people won't buy it. Like people won't have this at all. I don't think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did that bad a job when he was managing United. And he actually, if you look at his record against the big clubs like Man City and all them, he had quite good tactical plans. So I just think he's learned a lot since he was Cardiff manager. But then when he was Cardiff manager, you had Vincent Tan. Have you seen that clip from Kenwyne Jones when I interviewed him? And he said Vincent Tan was like asking him to play certain players up front, or why isn't so and so scored any goals? And oh yes, that was when he was in full interference mode and picking the side and that. Right, I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to ask as many questions as you want on anything you want, and I'll answer them as truthfully as I can. I'd prefer it if you don't ask any questions about some of the stuff I've alluded to over the last 2 days, or not alluded to, that I've avoided. So he didn't take Jody Morris, did he? Lampard, he took Craig Davis to Chelsea. That's interesting. I would hope that, well, I would love to see Jody Morris down here as a coach. Really, really well. I think that would be an excellent decision. Alex says, will Mehmet be coming back on the channel? Yeah, that is the plan, mate. I'm just trying to work it out, the ins and outs and stuff. But yeah, that is the plan. Ben Turner did say the same. Ben Turner's an interesting one, isn't he? I'd like to chat to him. Rhys says, how many of the regular starting 11 watch this channel? I don't know exactly, mate. I just know that some of the first team have watched some of it. So, here's where it is. Jeff says, was it 5-2-2-1 or 3-4-3? I think it was actually 4-3-2-1, if I'm honest. But it's such a flexible system. I really like it, mate. Obviously, when you're out of possession, it goes back to a 5 against teams where you're defending, and we were very much set up to defend yesterday. So it goes to a 5, a 5-3 sort of 2-1. But I like it because you can be offensive and the wing backs can get right up. If you want to be really offensive, you can make it a 3 up front, or you can make it 2 behind the striker. But you can also, I like that you create the box midfield with the 2 number 10s and the 2 sort of deeper midfielders, and it's easier to create overloads in the centre of the pitch. And then if your wing backs are high, you can create an overload and then switch the play really quick. I think it's a really versatile system that can be used to make you really defensively solid, really attackingly creative or offensively creative, and it allows you to create overloads all over the pitch due to the shape of it. Like, yeah. Just me, though. I like it so much that I keep saying to the coach of my boys team who I help out, I keep saying to him that I want to play that system because I think it's so versatile, and I think it's a real good way to play good football. And yeah, let's have a look. Jonathan says Jody Morris and Brian Barney Murphy would be class working with Rhys. Good experience, similar playing styles to give Rhys the help he needs. Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. And that would be a real statement of intent to go and get them 2 as coaches, or like one of them as director of football, one of them as coaches, you know? Question, sorry. If Rhys had to change Purse for an experienced number 2, who would you bring in? And does it have to be experienced or just another number 2? Well, number 1, I don't want to bin off my mate. Number 2, it's tricky in it because it's difficult to see. Like, I think, when I said earlier, Des Buckingham would be a really good number 2 for Rhys if you could get him to do it. But I don't know if you could. John Watkins, welcome, mate. Thank you for joining membership this morning. I appreciate that massively, mate. There's a member show tomorrow night with Rhys and Matt. So look out for that. There'll be a link sent out on Patreon and on Cardiff City World. Says, do the club really have confidence in Rhys? I suspect not, which is why they won't give him the support. Yeah, mate. Well, this is my biggest gripe with it. I don't mind that they've given Rhys the job till the end of the season. I actually think that's probably the best thing to do if they weren't sold on any particular manager. My problem is that they didn't give him the staff, like not even give him support and staff, like which are going to really help take us on. Like, we are literally a skeleton crew of coaching at the moment for a first team in the Championship. Is absolutely shocking. And what frustrates it even more is that I know about a month, 6 weeks ago, they'd made the decision to give it to him till the summer and bring in at least one coach, maybe two, and then they change their mind. And at the moment, there's no plans to bring anyone in. Yeah, I mean, and Paul on the other side of another like Des Buckingham would be the one I would want to get in at the moment, but I don't know if he would take an assistant manager role. Against him with like your Mowbrays and people like that, but I just don't know if they take him because generally they want the manager's job. I think Jody Morris would be a good shot. I would like Barry Murphy at the club, but I would like him more as a like head of football operations or like director of football or technical director or something like that. Someone who could really focus in on where we're going over the next years. But yeah. Rhys says, do we think Rhys will be allowed to say will allow to say on who comes in? Yeah, well, he will, because there'll be loans. I would be shocked if we make any permanent signings in January. And probably, like, when you look at it, it's probably rightly so, isn't it? Like, if you don't know if he's here past the summer, I don't think you can give him like 5 million war chest to go and buy some players, because the manager who then takes over in the summer might not want those players, and it's a waste. So I get it. And equally, I don't think you can really give him any big decisions on who he wants to sell. If he wants to get rid of people, they may have to be loans, unless the club is very set that those people are going. But I think there's a couple of really good loans available if you use your brain. Like, it's just, will they do that? I just think like you get like particularly with this system now, get Al Hamidian on loan from Ipswich and a really, really pacey winger. And I think we might start cooking a bit. We might start clicking at the very least. But not me who makes the decisions. So we'll have to kind of wait and see, I guess, and see how it comes out in the wash. But all we can do as fans is, well, we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to speak and all the rest of it. At the end of the day, all we can do is keep the faith in it. Right, last couple. In that case, Si, what happens to the players out of contract? Will the new manager? Well, mate, you know what? The director of football will make that decision, because we haven't got a permanent. We ain't going to then. Technical director, he could do it. No, okay, no. Director of football operations, he will make that decision, because there's no manager in place to be able to sort out those contracts. What? Oh, no. Well, we aren't going to them either. Right. Joe Rawls, can you negotiate these contracts? Can you decide who we should keep? Or Rhys, you want to do it? I had no idea, mate, because, like, with the greatest of respect, like, is Vincent Tan going to decide which ones we keep? Fucking doesn't probably even know their names, mate. Bizarre, isn't it? Fucking weirdos. Should have been an actor, me. Yeah, so there's slightly disagree with that, Rhys. Only slightly. Like, I do think we need an 8, but I think it can wait till the summer. A winger with actual pace, 100%, and a 9. I don't think we need a number 10, mate. I really don't. I just think we need to get players around the number 10s that we've got now. Like, they so often don't have pace around them and people running in behind. That's why they sometimes get stuck. But yeah, Rawls is one of the players out of contract. Well, who else is going to do it? Yeah. All right. I'm off ski. I'm tired. as always, appreciate you all. These late night Sundays becoming a bit of a habit, innit? But all my boys are home, so spent a bit of time with them this evening, which was nice. But they eat all my food and they take all my nice stuff, so that's gonna have to stop. We're gonna have to start hiding it all. We've got loads of stuff coming up this week. We've got the Christmas countdown every day. Tomorrow's a good one. Today's was wicked with Soul Bamba. Please do check that out after you've watched this video. Go and check that out. Christmas countdown number 10 in the video sections. We've got a Cardiff City phone in tomorrow, plus the Christmas countdown number 9. What else we got? There's a video from the Greek League later on. Not tonight, like later on in the week. We got Christmas countdown every week. We've got the Flower Hour. We've got the 1927 pod next Saturday. We've got the previews of the games. We've got just stuff, constant stuff. And I'll probably make a couple of videos when people piss me off or things piss me off what the club are doing as well. So it's all good. Please support the channel, subscribe, like, all that stuff, share it, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And if you're feeling Christmassy, get that join button going or go to patreon.com/podcastnation, join there. We'll also have a members show tomorrow for just the members, so check that out as well. In the meantime, keep the faith.